So this video shows how we're gonna find which loops on the underfloor manifold go to which rooms. We have in this instance some labeling, but when we've come to it, in this instance we have, for example, the study thermostat is on, and that's bringing on just number 9. The study is a small room, so it will have only one loop, and it's just bringing on number 9. However, number 9 is labeled on the wall as dining. So we don't know now whether the label is incorrect or whether somebody has moved it from what should be the study. So what we need to do is we need to switch on one of these loops at a time while all the others are off. So when we have, we know it's on by the blue ring being up, and I've tested it earlier, so we are getting flow once that's on in this particular instance. But we've got heating in the pipes on the flow going into the underfloor. So what we would do in this instance is we would turn it on just as we have now, and it's going to take some hours for each part of the floor in the house to react. So what we do is we take a room like this. Now this is a pretty big room, and we put in kind of random places a couple of pieces of tape, and I have number 1 written on that, and number 2 written on this one, and 3, this is the third one in this room, written there. That's so that we come back to the same place when we're making multiple measurements, that we don't, because you will get different temperatures in different places in the room. We want to come back to the same place each time. So what I've done in this instance is I've just started the table that we will use, and here on this column I've said which loop is on. So we're going to, for argument's sake, turn on loop 1, and the time and the date we would have here. So what we do is we do a starting measurement to see what the floors are when we start off. And we might have the lobby as in this room, and we take the measurements here at points 1, 2 and 3 in the lobby, which we took as 24, 23, and 26 in one spot because it had been on earlier. And what we'll do is, after several hours with this loop 1 on, so we're going to make those measurements in each room of the house, 2 or 3 measurements in each room. Then we switch on one loop, and after several hours we'll see which part of the house is heating up. And we want to end up with a map, something like this, where we take the kitchen. This is, if we have a plan of the house, it's ideal, but if we have the kitchen, then we'll know whether there's 2 loops in it, like in this shape, maybe 1 here and 1 here, or 3 as in this instance, in here, here and here. So we'll know eventually by measuring. Once we see the floor temperatures rising at the particular spots, then we can go around in a more general area to draw where's hot and where's cooler, to give us this map of what we're going to end up with. And then what we do is we shut off loop 1, well, we know where that is, so we don't really need to allow it some time to cool down. We can discard that area then. It might be, for example, here or here, and then we can shut this off and allow turn on the next one, and we'll have our reference point at that from the measurements we took here. So for any given loop you might have to take 2 or 3 sets of measurements with the infrared gun, so the infrared gun looks like this, and it'll give us a temperature at each spot. We can see the little red dot on it there, I think. Yep. And so that example in terms of the loop actuators is fine, because we had one stat in a small room, just turning on the one number 9 there. Now I know on my piece of paper was number 1 we started with, but it can be any number. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off this stat, and I'm going to turn on the next one, which has multiple loops connected to the stat, and I'm going to show what to do there. So now what we've done is we've moved on to another room, and this time it's in this house it's actually a kitchen stat, and this has two loops connected electrically to it. So we can see all of the other actuators there are off. We know that by the lack of the blue ring, and here we can see the blue ring on 7 and 8. But what we want to do for the purposes of this is we want to switch on just one loop at a time, and this stat is bringing on two. So what we do if we have two or more loops on is we take off the actuator head by pushing in this little button here and lifting it off. It comes off much easier when it's electrically actuated with the blue ring showing than it does when it's off like that. Then we screw off this, so the actuator head can just hang down. This we just keep safely someplace where it won't get lost. And then we take one of these mechanical valves and we screw it on here to, in this instance, loop 7. So we screw on the bottom piece just down there firstly, and that can be a little fiddly. If it's hard to thread it, then bring it backwards until it clicks in and then go forwards. And then when it's the little bottom piece is on, we screw this top piece down, and that shuts off the flow in loop 7. So now if we have only loop 8 on, and then we can tell, as we did before with loop 8 only on, which part of the floor the temperature rises on, and then we can mark in loop 8 wherever it is in the house. And we just continue that process. Then when we've 8 done, we can take the actuator head off that, put this mechanical piece over there and do 7, and continue on down along either 1 to 9 or the other way around. And then finally we'll have a map of which area of the house it goes to, and then we'll need to carefully label that. And then ideally, if you have a plan of the house, mark it into the plan, laminate it, or just stick it up safely here so that we'll know forevermore where they are. And that's it.